Are we working better this time? Are we good? I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. I think that's worked better this time. It looks smoother on my end. I think we're better. Just if you guys could get in the chat and just let me know if we are better, that would be quite handy. If you can't, it's not an issue. Are we working now, chaps? Back in seems good. Can you hear me? Nice. Okay. I think it's just being a pain on my end. I'm not sure actually what's going on there. But anyway, and also I believe Edwick was talking about me being ill. I'm not ill. I'm not ill this time. Not yet. I just got one of those days where I randomly just feel completely drained. Anyway, let's get on to some of the quotes and stop the waffling. It's been a complete misery really in the last 11 years, and it's just frustrating if you're a Manchester United supporter during that period of time. That's football, isn't it? It has its ups and downs. First of all, he knows we've suffered. I don't think there's much to take from that one. Thoughts on this one? We have two issues. One is the longer term, getting Man United to where we would like to get to. But there's also the shorter term of getting the most out of the club as it stands today, because we would like to see the Champions League for next season if we can. So first things first, thoughts on that? Thoughts on that? Can we still get Champions League football this season? Are we going to get Champions League football this season? Do you think it's likely? Do you think we're in a position where we can? Of course, we've got Lisandro Martinez now out. We've got Luke Shaw now out. I think, if I can quickly get the tactics board up, I think we've got concerns for the second half of the season. I think this is what Ten Hag will go for. I don't think we all agree with this, but I think it's what Ten Hag will side with. Victor Lindelof at left back. Can that team, which we've got there, can that team get top four? Can that team get Champions League football or not? What do you guys reckon? Because I'm a little bit dubious, I'll be honest. I'm not sure. Get in the chat and let me know what you guys think. I think that left-hand side just being completely disrupted is going to be a problem. You know, no Lisandro Martinez here, no Luke Shaw here. I think especially also if it ends up meaning that we have to move Dalot as well. I think that puts us in a sticky spot, because then we're going to have 3/4 of our back four isn't ideally where we'd like them. I think higher up the pitch, I think the attacks are looking quite nice at the moment. I think we've got Rashford in better form at the moment. Garnacho's in good form at the moment, scoring goals from the right-hand side. Of course, Højlund is just an absolute joke. We need to get Bruno Fernandes back in his creative form, but I feel like when he does drop out of his creative form, we normally see it return pretty quick. He doesn't tend to be out of form for that long. Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo, I think the balance in midfield is still going to be a concern. I think we're going to see quite transitional football till the end of the season, but is it going to be enough to get us top four? If Luke and Licha were available, top four in FA Cup was achievable, to be honest. Now top four seems a bit difficult, but I feel that Spurs and Villa will drop off. There's a lot of big games coming in the next few weeks as well. A lot of big games. I think this weekend against Fulham, which we'll obviously cover on the channel, I think that's a big game for us. Before the City game, it would be really, really good to go get another win. I think we need it. I think any points dropped now till the end of the season is going to hit us hard. But I think Spurs will drop points, and I do think Villa will drop points as well. I don't think either of them guys are perfect either. I think there's going to be points dropped between now and the end of the season. Every game for us is a big game. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit cliche, but it does feel like every game's a cup final. It really does feel that way. There's a 5th place Champions League entry if Liverpool win the Europa, right? At the moment, Italian football and German football, so Serie A and Bundesliga, at the moment, they have the 5th place spots. So they have the extra team in the Champions League next season. Basically, I think we need Liverpool to do well in the Europa League, but also City and Arsenal to both do well in the Champions League to boost like their English club rating up, because we kind of ruined it in the group stage. So did Newcastle. So it's fully dependent on performance in European competition. We need the English clubs to do well to give us that 5th spot. If that 5th spot is there and is enough to get Champions League football, in that case, I'd be extremely confident. I would genuinely think that we can go do it at that point. So we'll have to see. We're too far behind. Too many things will have to go our way. Possibly. Alex, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. We need to win our home games, Fulham included. Yeah, so I'm going to do a tactical preview for that tomorrow. I'm going to do a video and also a stream. But yeah, I think we've got to win that. By the way, guys, because we've quickly changed stream and reloaded the second one, if you could leave a like on the stream, that would be greatly appreciated. It helps get it out there in the world. Danny Quinn saying 30% chance. I've just lost it. Where'd it go? 30% chance we will get Champions League, but I am okay with it. We are setting off to a new and right direction. Yes, obviously that's what we're going to cover in the rest of this stream as well. The direction which the club is going in. That's the big thing. Ali with the donation, $10. Absolute legend, my friend. Thank you very much. Saying good morning, AJ, and the best community. Good morning to you, my friend. The future is brightest. I'm okay with 3-year rebuild. Top 4 will be challenging with the left. Completely agree. As usual, Ali, you are spot on, my friend. I also am very worried. Thank you very much for the donation. Guys, make sure to spam some love hearts in the chat to say thank you. Big lag indeed. Not sure what's going on there. Are we good again now? In case you didn't catch that because of the lag, thank you very much, Ali. Greatly appreciate the donation. So we need quite selective performances from the Premier League teams if it's going to happen. Hot in Europe and cold domestically. Pretty much. 4th will be hard to get without Luke Shaw. Possibly so. Thank you very much, Ali, for the donation. Greatly appreciated, my friend. Guys, make sure to spam some love hearts in the chat like Matt, Alex, and FP have done already. Make sure to get some more in there. Why is this lagging so much? Feels like it's literally about to die. My Wi-Fi crashed or something. Anyway, back to Ratcliffe's quotes. The key challenge here is that the longer term, we need to do things well and properly and thoroughly and not rush it. So it's not an overnight change. It's going to take 2 or 3 seasons. You have to ask the fans for some patience. Completely agree with that. Do you think he's going to get the patience? Do you think Ratcliffe? Do you think INEOS? Do you think all of the new guys at the club? In the modern, just how the world works these days, how patient do you think the fans will be? I think we'll all sit here. At the start and say we're all going to be patient, we're going to trust the process. But there is going to be that section of the fan base which after 18 months just doesn't trust it. I think this is the most important time for the football club in a long time. And I think, voice crack is, like, are the fans going to stick with it? I hope they will. I think, say, plans like a new stadium and renovating the area and things like that are going to help get fans on side as well. So you think any match-going fans and the realistic fans will? A lot of online fans are going to lose it after a year or 2. I can see people saying, next year, we're 6th again next year. Everyone turn around going, well, what was the point of all this? I thought we were meant to change. But it is a long-term process. It is a long-term process. And I think one of these other quotes is going to highlight that, which we'll come on to in a second. But I think it's a big thing. The Glazers have been here for, what, 20 years now? I'm lagging again. Guys, I can only apologise for this. I don't know why it's lagging so much. Yesterday we were literally fine. I don't know if it's this new stuff we've got on. Whoa, look at the lag. Big frames dropped. Why is it so laggy? Very laggy, very laggy. Very laggy. Took Arteta 8th place twice, then 5th, and now challenged for the 1st in the 2nd season in a row. Patience is a virtue. Very much so. I like this quote a lot. I think this is my favourite one. The quote on the instant gratification. I think this is... He says, I know the world these days likes instant gratification, but that's not the case with football, really. I think it is the world these days. I don't think this is just a football thing. I don't think it's just a football environment where we expect this instant gratification. It's how the world works. So, for those of you that don't know what gratification means as such, it's the sense of enjoyment, I guess, or satisfaction when you get something you've desired. That's basically what gratification is. So instant gratification means wanting something, desiring something, and getting it pretty quickly, like pretty much straight away. That's what instant gratification is. And I think, like I said, the world these days, that is how it works. Because, you know, if I want to watch a film, I just tap a screen a few times or press a button on a remote and I can watch a film. Whereas back in the day, you'd have to wait for it to come out in the cinema and things like that. Also, with ordering something these days, instant gratification, I want something, I can go online, press it, next day delivery, literally going to turn up on my doorstep. Whereas again, before you would have had to wait a long time for it. That is instant gratification. Things just bang, 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 bang. And I think football has become the same. We often say it with new signings as well. You get your occasional Bruno Fernandes who hits the ground running and needs about a week to adapt to the league, and after that he's fine. Back like a few years ago, people would always look at it with the viewpoint of, it's the hardest league in the world, he's new to the league, he needs time to adapt. Whereas again, people and players just don't seem to get that time anymore. I think we've had that even with Onana in goal. We all think he's going to be this good ball playing goalkeeper for us. We all expect that. And because he doesn't do it in the first 6 months, everyone writes him off. He's a terrible goalkeeper. He isn't good enough for the long-term project. It's that one always for instant gratification. And the fan base is just going to have to accept that it can't happen. And it won't happen. As he said here, look at Pep Guardiola at Man City. It didn't happen overnight. It takes time to build a squad. It's not really the way that we're looking at it from a squad point of view. It takes so much time. It takes so much time to build a football club, but also in terms of actually just purely from a footballing point of view, in terms of like tactically on the pitch and things, you need close to 23, 24 players who are the right sort of player that you want if you really want to succeed. You look at the Manchester City squad, that squad is unbelievably good. But look how many years it took to build that squad. You can't do it in one summer. This summer, we can't go spend £2 billion in the transfer market, sign everyone we want, cherry pick all the best players. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't happen. So I think this is one of the most important quotes on the whole situation. It takes time. And the quote that FP said about earlier, and I think Edwick said it as well, walk to the right solutions, not run to the wrong solutions. And again, I feel like we've done that at times. If we haven't been able to get a certain player, Frankie de Jong the other year, we're not able to get him, so we quickly run to the next solution, Casemiro. But as it turns out, it looks like probably the wrong solution in terms of the sense that he's not going to last at the club that long. That was a case of us running to the next solution, being the wrong solution, rather than taking our time, perhaps waiting 12 months and getting the player which we really needed. Catch you later, FP, mate. See you later, my friend. Guys, again, I apologise for the lag. I'm not sure what's going on here at all. If you guys could drop a like as well on the stream, it would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, I do apologise for the lag. I'm not sure why it's doing it. Not sure why we're dropping frames, but we are. We are. Anthony is a perfect example of this. We needed a right winger. We couldn't find one, so we overpaid Ajax for him. Exactly. We've got to accept also that if we want a player, we can't just keep chasing them. There has to be a cut-off point. So like you say, when Ajax started asking for 75, 80, 85 million pounds for him, at that point we should have gone, okay, we might want him, but we can't pay that much for him. So I guess running to the wrong solution was just chucking an extra 20 million pound on the bid, whereas walking to the right solution would have been taking our time and scouting a new right winger. Again, even if you don't sign them straight away, even if you don't sign them until the next summer, we've got to take our time a lot more with these things. It takes a lot of patience and crucially trust. One part of delayed gratification people struggle with is trusting the method. Yeah, and I think the reason for that is because it is easier. Of course it is. It's easier to trust something when you see the results of it. It's easy to listen. So you trust someone and you listen to someone more if you see them succeeding. And if we don't necessarily get that in the first 6 months, there will be people who question it a little bit more. Because, again, the results won't necessarily be immediate. We're not instantly going to be prime Barcelona in 6 months. But it is about trusting them. I don't know about you guys, but I would say for the first time, really since I've been watching United properly, to be old enough to watch them and really understand what's going on, I think this is the first time that I trust that the people at the club are going to make the right decision. The Glazers have been here 20 years now. I think it was 2004. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they've been here about 20 years now, making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. It does feel like, for the first time, I trust Ratcliffe to make the right decision, or Berrada to make the right decision, or Ashworth, should he come to the club. I trust them to make the right decision, and I think that's a big thing. Now, that trust will probably be tested at times, because they'll probably get certain things wrong, and make mistakes, because, they are humans at the end of the day. But we just got to trust the process, basically. I know that's a bit of an Arteta Arsenal quote, but you do have to. I think this also hints Ten Hag needs to improve, or we will have a new coach. Yeah, so I think we've got a quote on the manager situation coming up shortly, and I think that does kind of touch on the Ten Hag situation, obviously. But again, it's important. First time after Sir Alex retired, I felt like the club has some leadership in the house. Completely agree. Completely agree. What's the next quote? Ratcliffe and co have learnt a lot from the trial and error at Nice. Yeah, I think it's actually a good thing for United that this isn't the first club which INEOS are coming into. And obviously, it's also not like the first sporting environment they're coming into. They've worked in other places. They've kind of learnt their lessons a little bit, got certain things wrong. Again, they're going to get things wrong again. Of course they will. They're going to get things wrong. But they've made a lot of mistakes already. And as a result, they should have learned a lot already. So I think, again, that's the exciting thing for me. What we need to see is that we are heading in the right direction. Even if we are sick for next year, as long as we are heading in the right direction, that is good. Completely agree. David, mate, good to see you. Good to see you. We'll really struggle to get top 4 unless Villa and Spurs slip up, and we don't. We've not had a settled team all season. Yeah, and obviously that's continuing to be the case at the moment. This starting 11 looks a little bit down here. It's not top level. It does look a little bit unsettled at the moment. Sorry, by the way, that there's a lack of stuff on screen. I'm planning on sorting that for future streams, so hopefully we can get that looking pretty decent. But this is just the template of it. I accidentally deleted the old one. Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit concerning, this left side of the pitch. It's a little bit concerning in terms of pushing for the top 4 this season. Ratcliffe has said that we want it. We want Champions League football. We can get it still. We can get it still. It's going to be a push. I think we have a slight edge, though. Over a team like Villa, for example, when things are worse, I think we've got that extra bit of star quality. You know, with the fact that we've got that Rashford, that Bruno Fernandes, even Højlund up front. I think we've got a little bit more when it's going tough. You know, I think Villa, largely, obviously not always, I think Villa need to play quite well to win games. Whereas I feel like we, as we saw against Luton, can play quite poorly and still win. We saw it against West Ham the other week. I don't think we played great, but we won 3-0. I think that gives us a bit of an upper hand. Spurs is obviously a little bit different because they've got players like Son and Maddison. But even still, I do wonder, do we have that little bit more? Do we have those game breakers? Those players who kind of go against the grain and the flow of the football match? Because they're the ones which get you top 4. They're the ones which get you top 5. Possibly. Do you think Rashford should be sold this summer? PSG is losing Mbappe. Come the summer, do you think Rashford should be sold for the sake of financial fair play? I think that's going to be a really, really big decision. A really big decision, the whole Marcus Rashford one. Probably one of the biggest decisions that INEOS will make this summer in terms of an individual player. Do you keep Marcus Rashford or do you sell him? Because with Marcus Rashford, you've got a homegrown player there. A player who is from the academy, so he's a great kind of symbol for new academy players coming through. He is proof that if you work hard, you perhaps get a bit of a break, but you've got a skill set, you will be given your chance in the first team and you can be our main man for, Rashford's been here about 8 years now. So Rashford's a really good symbol for our academy and what we want our club to be in terms of a player from the academy, the local area who took his chance, played well, yada yada. On the pitch as well, he's a good player. He's a really good player. He does a lot on the ball. I still think in possession he's right up there with the left wingers. I do think he is. The big problem is out of possession attitude. That's the big question. His intensity off the ball. On the ball, I have doubts over whether he's literally the perfect fit, but it depends what INEOS decide their style is, right? So we don't know what their style is going to be. We don't know what Ratcliffe and, the sporting director, technical director, whoever, we don't know what football they're going to want to play. So we don't know stylistically who's going to fit. The only thing we do know in terms of on the pitch is that Rashford does have question marks out of possession. So in terms of, again, footballing matters, if you like, literally what we see at the weekend on the pitch, the Old Trafford pitch, should we sell Rashford right now? It's too early to say because, again, we don't know what direction we're going in terms of the style of football we want to play and things like that. That's going to be established over the next however long. So it's difficult to say who we should sell, who we should keep. Of course, the work rate is something. I dare say, the approach is going to be We don't want players which walk about the pitch. I think most teams would go for that sort of approach. So that will be interesting. In terms of the whole financial fair play side of things, again, possibly you could sell him, but the problem is you're going to have to spend a lot of money. You're going to have to spend a lot of money to replace him. Because, yes, we've got Garnacho, but then you need a right winger, plus you still need a backup winger. So it's a difficult one. I also don't know what he would go for. If you were to sell Rashford, what price do you think would be an acceptable price to lose him for? Let me know what you think. I found this quote interesting from Ratcliffe, by the way. I don't think I'll ever lose money. Just casually flexed on us. For me, it's not about a financial investment. The objective was to get involved in being influential in the future of Manchester United. That's quite exciting. Now, I think anything like this, we've got to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt a little bit, right? He's not going to come here and say, I'm only here for the money. He's always going to say positive things like this. But it is just nice to read. It is just nice to read that he's more interested in the football side of things. I think the Glazers have always been about, can they get that extra few quid in their pocket? That's always felt like the Glazers' main interest. It looks like it will be different with Ratcliffe, and that's an exciting prospect. That is an exciting prospect. About 80 million for Rashford. Not going to lie, I don't think we get 80 million for him. What is Rashford's contract situation like right now? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what his contract is? I think Rashford will be given one more year, one more season to improve. His value, 80 to 90 million. So are we good again? Guys, again, I don't know what's going on with the stream today. Hopefully we're going to have this sorted by tomorrow. Are we good again? I think we're okay. I'm not sure what's going on with the stream. I can only apologise. Sorry for the lag. I don't know what's happening. I reckon you guys should leave a like on the stream for it, though, because surely putting up with this deserves a like. Surely it deserves a like. It's not just me, it's YouTube. Yeah, possibly. It's back. Lost you for a second there. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Something died there. I think we're okay. The stream is lagging, I believe. I'm not sure I don't know why, because on my end everything looks fine, but YouTube just keeps doing its thing at the moment. So yeah, we're going to have to put up with that. Anyway, let's move on to the next quote. I think recruitment in the modern game is critical. Manchester United have clearly spent a lot of money, but they haven't done as well as some other clubs. I can't imagine who he would be talking about with poor signings in the past. Anthony. So when I was talking about being best in class in all aspects of football, recruitment is clearly top of the list. Who do you guys want to see in terms of that head of recruitment position? I think should Ashworth come into the club, I think he's someone who will be involved in it. I think he will be someone who has something to do with the recruitment side of things. But I also think we will have probably a head of recruitment under him. So what do you reckon there? Who is that likely to be? I've seen other streams dropping off as well. Oh, well, I mean, in fact, if it's not just me, that's a good thing. So thank you for reassuring me. I appreciate that. If we were run right, we should be pushing Rashford towards PSG. What will be Jason Wilcox's role at the club, AJ? I'm not actually sure. I think he's more likely to be linked to the academy side of things and like the development side more than recruitment, I think, but I'm not entirely sure. Can't say I know much about that side. Respect the honesty, but I'm confident Ashworth will make the right call. And again, I think that's the big thing, right? It feels like we might be becoming a club where we actually trust the decisions that people are going to make. That's just exciting to me because couldn't tell you the last time that was the case. I think Bruno should be sold this summer before he drops off, especially when the options in the market are so good. Who would you be looking for as that replacement number 10 if I rule out Florian Wirtz? Who else would you be interested in? Let me know who you reckon. Jason Wilcox will be a technical director? Yeah, possibly. When Sergio Ratcliffe was asked about Ten Hag, let's get the beautiful man back on the screen. I've lost the quote now though. He said, "I don't want to talk about individuals. Do you think that's an indication that they might change manager in the summer?" I'm not sure that it means much at all, really. I feel like it's just that typical interview answer where you don't overcommit yourself either way. You don't go out and say, yes, this is absolutely the manager we want, but you're also obviously not going to, dig him out in front of the world and say he's useless. So I don't think that quote in particular means too much. I think the more interesting one was the comment on United having a lot of coaches, a lot of managers in the last 11 years and it not working. And how he then made the point, which I think we've made a lot, that if it's not working for so many good managers, perhaps the managers and the coaches aren't the problem, and that the club environment is. So I think that's a positive thing to hear. Again, does that indicate that Ten Hag is going to stay? Possibly. I feel like that is fairly supportive of Ten Hag, that sort of quote. But whether or not it's Ten Hag, I think he's onto something there, right? Mourinho, a great manager. Van Gaal, a very good manager. Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? The other thing I liked as well, and one of the really positive things that I saw, was the comments about, in terms of who's going to decide what type of football we play. How, again, that will come down to the CEO, the technical director, the sporting director. The football which United play, or the style which we kind of strive towards, isn't just going to come from a manager. And that's crucial. Because I think that's honestly up there, apart from recruitment, with our biggest problem that we've made in the last decade. The biggest or the poorest decision we've made. Because we go from Van Gaal to Mourinho. And the problem with doing that is, in terms of if we actually go look at the Manchester United squad, is that you end up with a squad which is, not particularly this 11 so much, but in general, you end up with a squad which has been built under several different managers. And the problem when you do that, at United currently, is those managers have all had different styles. So Van Gaal was all about, a very, very slow, methodical possession structure and philosophy. It was all about keeping the ball. That was the plan. 70% possession, bore the opposition to death. That seemed to be the plan. Then you had Mourinho, who was much more, I'm not going to say defensive, but probably a more cautious approach, less interested in possession for the sake of it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was very transitional. Ten Hag, who then maybe wants to do something between the two. When you're changing your complete play style of a football club every 18 months, 2 years, you're never going to have a squad which can do it. Because these players 4 years ago were being asked to do one thing. So we signed a load of players for, let's go back 8 years. We signed a load of players for a possession approach, the likes of Daley Blind, etc. So that was the type of player we went for. We signed a possession approach. Keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball. Doesn't work out with Van Gaal, so then we bring a new manager in who suddenly wants to, again, be a bit more cautious. Suddenly all the players we just signed under the last manager now don't fit the new direction at all, the new tactical approach. They just don't fit it, which is why I think our squad for so long now has looked so far off every other team, because we've had a squad which is so jumbled up. Because again, 2 years later, the next manager comes in and wants to play a transitional approach. Let's say we have a manager this summer comes in who wants to go back to a purely possession approach. Once again, it changes what type of player you need, which has been a big problem for United. Our squad has never looked good or ready to play a style of football. I couldn't really label this 11 and tell you what the ideal style for them is. Think of our strongest 11. I couldn't tell you the exact style of football which really suits them the best. And I think that comes from players being signed to play under different managers, but those different managers having different systems, different ideas, different approaches. The idea now under Ratcliffe and co seems to be that they are going to decide how we play football. And he said we haven't decided what that's going to be yet. They haven't decided, that might be a tick-tacker approach, it might be a gegenpress, it might be purely transitional football, it might be park the bus, whatever. They haven't decided yet what they want it to be. But when they do decide, that's what they're going to stick with. So Erik ten Hag might be given a chance. If it might not work, we might sack him, we might bring a new manager in. But the whole idea and direction isn't going to change. We aren't going to do a 180-degree turn every time, which is what we've done recently. Think of it a bit like Brighton, for example. No matter who is their manager or who their players are, at the moment you always know what style of football they want to play. Even when they went from Graham Potter to De Zerbi, it's a slightly different approach, but the emphasis is still on technical ability. possession football and exciting attacking football. So even though the manager changed, they went in roughly the same direction. There's tweaks, obviously, but they went in roughly the same direction. Whereas, again, for us, we went Van Gaal to Mourinho. Like, it doesn't make sense. So hopefully, whether it's Ten Hag, whether it's, we bring Amorim in the summer, or we bring another manager in 4 years, or whoever it might be, I think we're going to see less U-turns, less 180-degree turns, completely changing the whole approach. And that, in the long term, should lead to a team and a squad which is just way more suited to playing something which looks like football. And I think that's the exciting part of it. Jose Mourinho said himself, above me there is no one who has a football background to help him. This is why reaching second was his biggest achievement in his career. Yeah, I think he was kind of laughed at for that at the time, wasn't he? Saying that second was his biggest achievement. But I think it was really a dig at what was going on above him. So that's something else which Ratcliffe said as well. The fact that Ten Hag currently, what's the term I'm looking for? Kind of relays or talks directly to the CEO. He was saying, Ratcliffe said, that's just not how modern football works. There has to be more connection points in the club. There has to be, again, that technical director, that sporting director. Steps to it. That's, again, what should be changing. More football people. More football people. We have to stick with Ten Hag at least until next season and decide how to proceed ahead considering the results. Again, I think some of it just decides what style of football, again, INEOS and Sergio Ratcliffe and Berrada or whoever want to play. If Ten Hag suits roughly their idea or is willing to adapt to their idea, then I think he gets a chance. Because his contract's expiring next year anyway. We were saying on Discord yesterday that it's almost the easy solution for INEOS is to keep Ten Hag. And if he does well in the next 12 months, brilliant, you just give him a new contract. If he doesn't, you let his contract run out and you get a new manager. You don't have to have that massive sticking point of sacking someone. So I actually think the Ten Hag contract situation will help Ratcliffe and make things easier for them. The most interesting thing was the affirmation about the managing team dictating the style of play. Yeah, completely agree. The fact that the United way is more about attitude and mindset than specific tactics makes me think we would be well served getting on board with relationism. I always struggle to say that. And potentially getting ahead of Europe. Something that can be embedded from the academy to the first team and gives you a very malleable base of technical ability and experience to mould players into more specific formations or approaches. I think the academy point is a particularly good one. Again, Ratcliffe said about how City do it. That all of their teams, whether that be the men's team or the women's team or the academy teams, they all play in a similar way, which means it's so much easier to bring their players in. You look at the type of players their academy has produced in recent years at City. Foden, I think it's fair to say he suits Pep football. Cole Palmer, whilst it didn't work, you could see that he could play that style of football. And the same again for Rico Lewis as well. Whereas some of our academy players, because the idea and the philosophy of the club hasn't been the same throughout the club, it's more difficult. Players are having to make a constant transition. Whereas if the approach is the same from top to bottom, it's so much easier to make the steps through. And it should see academy players find it easier and give them more of a pathway. Just trying to fight off a sneeze. Okay, I think we survived it. Whew. I think we survived it. AJ, how many players do you think will be going out this summer? Good question. Good question. I honestly don't know. I think how many players have we got running out of contract? I feel like the likes of Martial, etc. are gone. Is a Jadon Sancho gone? Possibly. I don't know. I think we'll see a decent amount of players leave. We've seen a decent amount in the last couple of years. I think clearing dead wood has always been a problem for us in the past decade. I think we've got a little bit better at it in the past 18 months. Still not great, but we have finally seen some players go, even if, for less money than what we would like. We have finally seen some people leaving. So, I don't know. It could be more than you think. I'm not too sure. Then why do we have the best team? Do you mean at youth level? Again, I think the academy is something else which has taken steps in the right direction in the past couple of years. The question is, though, just because you win a lot at under 19s or under 18s, under 17s, under 16s, whatever it may be, it's about not only winning at that level, it's about, do you have the pathway to then make it into the first team? And again, if for example, you play like academy football in a park the bus system or a heavy transitional approach, but then the first team is purely on controlling the ball, it's a difficult switch to make. Whereas again, if the idea is the same from top to bottom, as a player, it's an easier transition to make between the teams. I think with a proper structure above him and good recruitment, Ten Hag can do well. It takes a lot of pressure off of him. It'll be interesting to see if he's willing to take that step back a little bit. Because the talk is that he has always wanted a lot to say with transfers and things, and I just don't think the manager is going to have that power under Ratcliffe and under the new CEO and, again, sporting director, whoever. It'll be interesting to see if he's willing to kind of take that step back from the recruitment side of things. I think he would be a better manager for it, because like you said, I think it would take a lot of the pressure off. I think it would make life a lot easier for him and almost let him focus more on management and things like that. I think he would be better for it. I think the players can make the switch. I expect that of professional players. Oh yeah, we're not talking about can they do it or can they not do it. But it's about, for young players in particular, why not make it as easy as possible? Why intentionally, as a football club, try and make it more difficult for young players to come through? It's not to say that they can't, because we've still seen it, but make it as easy as possible. The difference with the youth team is the smaller spotlight and the focus on development rather than results. First team will never have that luxury. Very, very true. Again, I completely agree with that point. Youth football is all about development. It's not about winning trophies. Yes, it's good to have that winning mindset and things, particularly, again, at a club like United. But the most important thing is for players to develop. And again, if the whole club has an idea, this is the point I'm trying to make. If the whole club has an idea, of the way they want to play football, it's just easier to go through the teams. If you can't see it, I don't know how to describe it to you, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to describe it. It's just an easier transition if the whole club plays a similar style of football. Again, there's a reason City do it, because it's just so much easier for the players to transition through. Could you explain how Ten Hag will mix his own style with United's DNA? Good question. And actually, rather than me answering that straight away, I want to ask a question to you guys. What's your ideal style which we play? Because again, that's the talk, that Ratcliffe wants, the sporting director and the collective to agree on a footballing style before then sorting out the manager and things like that. So what is the football style that you want? Can we be a successful club as a transitional team? It depends. I find the label transitional team a difficult one to work with at times. Because does a transitional team mean that you solely focus on transitions? Or that you use transitions in your game and are very good at them? For example, Liverpool are a good transitional team. City these days are a good transitional team. But that doesn't mean they focus on transition. They still focus on possession. So it depends. Fast counter-attacking football. Could you make the argument that we currently play that then? I think there is a case for it. We have spells in games where we try to take control of the ball, but a lot of the time it is transitioning. Please not tick-attacker. So you don't want possession for the sake of it as such. I think Ten Hag will be really happy with just managing the team and just requesting specific roles for his team, with the staff recommending him players. I think it's just how it should work. I think it is. We shouldn't play boring and robotic football like City, so you still want to see some of that transitional element and things like that. Artificial transitions plus dominate. Ten Hag football with good pressing and high line defence. I think for me personally, the way I see it is what I would like to see is a side which, I think it's required in a modern day, can take the ball and play from the back. That's the style of football that I want to see. I want to see, I'm not a big fan of going long into channels and up to big strikers. I think you can use it at times, but I don't think it should be your main game plan. I do want to see a United side which can play the ball out from the back, and potentially that is more of a Ten Hag idea, more of an Ajax idea. Playing the ball out from the back. I do want to see a decent amount of controlled possession, but like you said, I'm not someone who's fussed about 70% possession every game, personally. I'm not fussed about, Arsenal at the moment. Was it against Porto last night? How much? At one point they had about 82% possession, but hadn't had a shot on target. It's not my style of football for me personally. I think what most people would want if you could do it is something between the control of Guardiola, the play out ability of Guardiola, but then perhaps at times the attacking football of Klopp. And the difficult thing to find, I think, is the balance in between. How do you do both? A healthy mix of building from the back, long ball approach shouldn't be the main way. Building from the back, and if needed, parking the bus and hitting on the counter. Something similar to Liverpool, direct, fast, a lot of counter-pressing and pressing. So in that case, say like a Bruno Fernandes can work, because he is someone who gives the ball away quite a lot, but at least when he does give it away, his intention is towards the ball. Now, obviously, this starting 11 can't do this style of football at the moment, I don't think. We're thinking for the longer term here. I guess you wanted something like the prime Liverpool did, fast football and controlling by very, very tight defending. Yeah, I see I do think the current Liverpool, or certainly the Liverpool of a few years ago, I do think that is closer to the, quote, again, United way, that fast football, that direct football. But I also do think at the same time, in the modern game, is that a bad term to use? Just right now in football, control is important as well. It is important to get your foot on the ball, because when you make games end to end, you open up spaces and you give the opposition chances. And the Premier League's got so much quality, it's unbelievable, that you start giving teams chances, it's a dangerous game. I guess the idea there would be football where it's so good at pressing almost that it's not end to end. So you might be quite fast and you might be quite direct, lose the ball quite a lot, firing it forward. But then you're so good at counter-pressing, like Liverpool a couple of years ago, that it doesn't become end-to-end, because when you give it away, you win it back so quickly. Perhaps that's the approach. I've always liked the idea of us playing Bielsa's Leeds style of football, where it's just complete chaos at every game. We'll never have a boring game. I mean, I'd argue we don't have a boring game right now. No, we do. No, we do have some boring ones. You'd like to see the style that Ten Hag played at Ajax, possession and counter-attacking mixed with a high press. I think a lot of us are on a similar page then of roughly the idea that we'd like to see. That's why I asked that tactical question, can we be transitional and also control the game when we need, instead of having a low-tempo possession team? Sorry for spamming. No worries, mate, you're not spamming. You're asking questions, I love it. I think you can do both. I think particularly the use of artificial transitions. For those of you that aren't aware, let me just quickly explain that a little bit. So an artificial transition, what's the best way to describe this? Is turning almost possession-based football into a transition. So you're almost setting up the opposition's defence to look like it's defending a counter, even though you've had the ball for like a sustained period of time. So what it will mean a lot of the time is, think of De Zerbi last year with Brighton. The way that they would hold the ball deep quite a lot. And basically their plan was that they could drag the opposition in like this. So you can really drag the opposition towards you. And then the idea basically behind this is to break the press. Because now, if you're able to break the press, that might be with someone dribbling in here, or it might be with a couple of popped passes like this. The idea being that if you quickly draw the opposition in, draw them high up the pitch and then play through them, by the time you get it to someone like Bruno Fernandes in this position here, it now looks like a transition. It looks like a typical counter-attack, because suddenly we've got a lot of attackers forward and they haven't got many defenders back because we've drawn them all onto us. Now, in a way, United have done that this season. If you think back to the Liverpool game, what we've done quite a lot was we would bring a lot of players deep here. We would draw Liverpool onto us. The problem in that game was that then, rather than trying to play through the press as such, to get at these exploited defenders, we went direct. So I do think we have seen hints that this is what Ten Hag wants to do. That idea of artificial transitions, I just don't know that he currently trusts the side to do that first part of taking your time, drawing teams onto you and playing through them. So, yeah, before we've played kind of above the press, over the press. I'd like to see us attempt to, for me personally, moving forward, more through the press rather than over it. I think that's what I like the idea of. It's fundamentally a very fun and expressive methodology. Proper football is football. Oh, sorry, I didn't read the comment before. I want confident talent emphasising football that keeps us in the fight till the final whistle. Front foot always with a real belief in our ability. It's why I'm praying for relationism to take off. I mean, like you said, it is proper football's football. In a way, Ten Hag demanding transitions right now is asking players to rush something they're not yet up to speed with in the first place. Yeah, that's what it feels like a lot of the time, for sure. Players trying stuff which they, like you said, they just don't look like they can actually physically do it. Just as long as we don't play like City. So are people really against that idea of slow, methodical possession? Because if you are, I think Arsenal are probably even the better example of that. I think Arsenal play even slower, even more controlled, even safer. City do at least have, Haaland, who's a little bit different. De Bruyne, who likes to whip a ball in quite early. Alvarez, who's not a possession merchant, if you know what I mean. Arsenal, in terms of the slow approach, are probably the ones which do it the most at the moment. So you guys want to avoid that, which is fair enough. And I think I agree. I think I want more entertainment than that. Hey AJ, these new graphics are awesome. Thank you very much. It's a work in progress, that's the term. I started making this and then it was not ready to use properly yet, but I accidentally deleted the old stuff, so we're kind of stuck with a half-finished thing here. I want to get up there, it will say like the latest super chat or the latest members on the channel. I think that'd be pretty cool. And then maybe something down there as well. At the moment, we've got a subscriber count. I want to get more. I want to read Ali's comment as well. Front foot, high pressing, attacking football with wingers and fullbacks overlapping with lots of crosses into the box. Proper Sir Alex Ferguson way. City legitimately bore me to death outside of the moments of magic from De Bruyne. I tune into a lot of City games. They can be dull. They can really be dull. Like, it's one of those things, being a City, if you were to be a City fan right now, it must be fun at full time because you win pretty much every game, right? But actually during the matches, some of them do look boring to watch, don't they? Sideways football constantly. But the club, the board and all them, they might decide that's the direction they want to go in. And if they do, we're just going to have to back it. Heavy metal football is the one for me. Sir Alex Ferguson from the late 90s, early 2000s, or Klopp's football. So fast football, physical football as well, I think is an emphasis there. The ability, if you're going to play forward quickly, you need to be able to win it back quickly as well. And for that, you do need physical players which can cover a lot of ground, work hard, win their duels, be specialists in 1v1s. And I'll be honest, guys, I think a lot of what you guys are talking about is very much like Ten Hag. Even if we haven't seen it in full effect since he's been at the club for various reasons, the environment around him, people above him, the injuries he's had to the first team, the recruitment, whatever. But you guys are largely describing certain things we've seen from Ten Hag. I just don't know that we've seen it consistently. But you guys might be suggesting Ten Hag's our man. Maybe. Liverpool play forward quickly now, don't they? Very quickly. Very, very quickly. The Athletic released some graphs last week, I think it was, talking about percentage of patient attacks and things like that. Liverpool was so low for that. They get the ball forward very, very quickly. Watch Liverpool. The football that you guys are describing, if that's the football you like to see, watch a couple of Liverpool games, then decide, is it still the football you want to see? You'll probably say yes, because it's fun to watch. It is fun to watch. Can we play Wan-Bissaka at left-back? I'm not sure if he's injured. He did, of course, play the Spurs game at left-back not that long ago, so I think we could see him there in the future. But at the moment, he is injured still for, I think, 2 to 4 weeks, I believe is the time frame which Ten Hag put on that. So, a bit disappointing, but hopefully he'll be back soon, give us more fullback options. For now, we've got a problem. I always thought Ten Hag reminded me more of Klopp rather than Pep. Yeah, I still think he's somewhere between the two. I don't think he's like fully either of them. But if it was on a scale, Klopp, Pep, he's further this way. Did I say that the wrong way around? He's closer to Klopp is what I'm trying to say. I might have done that the wrong way around in the end. But he is closer to Klopp than Pep Guardiola football. I think Arteta is someone who reflects Guardiola a bit more. Ten Hag, probably more like Klopp. Ten Hag has a very front foot way of playing, even more than Klopp. Yeah, possibly even more so. Did we just lose a subscriber? That is brutal. We're going to take that counter off the screen. That is brutal to see that live on stream. Ah, that hit me right in the chest. Ow. Never mind. They will be missed. Make sure to leave a like on the stream, by the way, guys. If we could get to 50 likes, that'd be great. When Ten Hag said he can't play the Ajax way, it's because he doesn't have the personnel to do so. Give him a 100% Ten Hag squad, then wait and see. In Ten Hag, we trust. There's a lot of positive energy today. I like it. I think the fan base at the moment is just much more positive. It helps that we've seen a few wins on the pitch. I think that helps just naturally. But I do think in general, the whole takeover stuff, the whole Ratcliffe stuff, I think we are in a much better place mentally than what we were 3 months ago. How dare he unsubscribe? Yeah, it's his loss, man. He will be missed. One thing I'd like to see is a 6 and 2 8s instead of 1 10 and 2 6s or 8s. Because I think that midfield is a lot more balanced out with possession if the team wants to play hard pressing footy. So you want to see essentially more of a 4-3-3. Be interesting to see what sort of personnel fit that. 4-3-3 has always been my preferred formation over a 4-2-3-1, but I do think a 4-2-3-1 can kind of... I think the 4-2-3-1, sorry, has a higher floor, but a lower ceiling. I think is how I would often describe the 4-2-3-1. If Liverpool were the lowest for patient attacks, surely United were quite low as well. Yeah, we were. I'll try to find you the article at some point. But, yeah, we were low as well. I think Liverpool were lower still. Oh, look at that. We went up a subscriber again. That's too traumatic. I can't deal with that on stream. Maybe we'll have the likes under there in the future. That sounds better. Then we can go for like goals. We're on 47 likes right now, by the way, guys. If we can get to 50, that'd be great. We haven't seen 20% of Ten Hag ball yet. That sounds exciting for the future. Ten Hag is the right manager to build a team around. He keeps his squad disciplined and doesn't take beep from the people who are not disciplined. The success is a matter of time for such a manager. Yeah, I think the thing which I will say with Ten Hag is I have concerns. I think tactically he's made some poor decisions this season. I think he's done some things which are concerning. And they do leave me questioning whether tactically he's the right man to lead the club forward. I'm not sure if he is. But I think the best thing to do is give him a little bit of time, I think is where I'm at the moment. Give him a bit of time in a better environment, better people around him, a better recruitment team, all of that stuff. I think it would be hard to judge him right now because like Ratcliffe said, if it's gone wrong for so many managers over the last 11 years, maybe the managers aren't the problem. So maybe that's the same approach we should take with Ten Hag. Maybe he isn't the problem. Maybe the problem has been what's around him. I mainly blame players letting down Ten Hag in many matches, and he was genuinely outplayed by some managers. Yeah, I think there's been both. I think there's been times where he's, like you said, been let down by players. You know, we've had high XG, for example, and we should have scored more goals. I think at the same time, there's been other games where we have just been done tactically. For example, I think against Luton we were. I think Luton got the better of us tactically. So yeah. Ali with a $5 donation. Thank you very much, mate. Saying 44 likes. Come on, guys. We are way better than that. He's not wrong. You guys are way better than that. He said, let's hit 80 likes if we can, guys. 80 likes on the stream. Can we do it? I reckon we can. I reckon we can. And he said, if you do that, a $10 donation will be made. And he promises. And I know that Ali is a man of his word. So if you want to support the channel, help the channel, leave a like on the stream. But also make sure to say thank you in the chat to Ali for that generous donation. As always, just an absolute legend. Edwick saying, I just unsubscribed and subscribed again and wanted to test how quickly the counter reacts to it. How quick was it? Was it quick or was it slow? I don't actually know. I hadn't tested it. Haven't tested it. Personally, I prefer a more possession-orientated style of play than Ten Hag's quick and fast-paced attacking. He does do some possession, but his teams tend to play it forward as quickly as possible too. Spot on. I think some of that does come down to just personal preference as well. Oh, a little bit of lag there. Like I said, I think it is just personal preference on what you prefer as a style of football. Some people like that slower possession. Some people want quick attacking. It's quite slow. I will unsubscribe now. Don't break my heart again, Edwick, man. I also want to try and get it so that if people leave a super chat, like Ali always does because he's an absolute king, I want to try and get it so that it pops up on screen down here. I think that'd be cool. Problem with Ten Hag and coaches like De Zerbi is rest defense. That's the thing. At the end of the day, no matter what you think, Ten Hag does have tactical flaws, which is where I find myself really stuck, because there is all this idea of patience and things like that, but also at the end of the day, Ten Hag has shown tactically he's flawed. He is flawed, and unless he changes, we're gonna have a problem. So we'll have to see. Unbreak my heart. Say you love me again. What a tune, Chad. What a tune. I should probably call her. The team needs to know how to read the room in football matches. Yes. I think a lot of that will come from just squad development over a few years. Again, from the academy and everything. Intelligent players, high IQ players, technical players, things like that. Takes about 30 seconds. It's not too bad, to be fair. It's not too bad. AJ, did you read my comment on Luke Shaw video? It's with 2 crazy options. I have not seen them yet. I do apologise. You can drop them here in the chat if you want, but I haven't seen them yet. The personnel when the rest defence decides a lot. Yeah, I think there's structural problems, but also individual problems there. For sure, for sure. 61 likes currently, guys. I reckon we can push that up. I think 70 would be a nice target. 80 if we can really push. I think Ten Hag doesn't have the players for his play style, and when his best players are out injured, he gets done tactically. Yeah, I think he does. I think he does rely a lot on individual quality. Obviously, all managers do, but I think Ten Hag perhaps more than most. I think there is a real emphasis on individual quality, ability in 1-versus-1 situations in particular, on the ball, off the ball. I think that is a real strain put on the players, and I don't think our current players match it. I also think we've just seen a little bit of a confused Ten Hag. A Ten Hag which had a plan for this season, but that plan's been ripped up by injuries to Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw mainly, but not having Kobbie Mainoo for the first half of the season, not having Casemiro. I still don't think we've seen his plan for this season yet, which is crazy. Ten Hag's rest defence was a problem at Ajax too. It was, which concerns me. Aren't all managers tactically flawed? You mentioned Arteta having loads of possession, but not creating any clear-cut chances, for example. Yeah, all managers are flawed. I think the important thing is what those flaws are. Are they fundamental flaws, which if you get them wrong are just going to lose you every football match? Or are they like the fine details? I think that's the difference, perhaps. You know, say for Arsenal, if you think a flaw is that they don't create, which I think has changed recently, but if you think of the flaw is that they don't create, I would argue that's an easier thing to fix rather than the flaw being we can't keep hold of a football, or we constantly lose possession, or that's the same thing, or we constantly concede a lot of goals. I think they're harder problems to fix. You just find Arteta creepy. What? Inzaghi is the Pep successor. Do you see him at United under INEOS? I want to do a lot of research into the Inzaghi football. I've heard that they play some really nice stuff at Inter. Saw them quite a lot last season, but this season not so much. So I haven't seen them enough to really be able to comment. It's that Lego hair and the forced smile. Poor guy, poor guy. Good answer. Thank you very much. I've been practicing my answers. Theo Hernandez or Alphonso Davies? I think I prefer Theo Hernandez. I think he can do more different things. But Mikel is so handsome, how could you say such a thing? Why am I reading out Chad comments? That's just always a bad idea. No offense, Chad, mate. I love you, but... Do you think this summer could be revolutionary in terms of rebuilding team, considering Sir Jim's takeover? Rebuilding everything. Not just... Well, it depends what you class. Rebuilding the team, not just meaning the squad. Rebuilding Manchester United, this is a big summer. From, again, sporting director, technical director, who's in charge of different decisions, head of recruitment, all of that stuff. But then obviously as well, players we're going to get rid of, players we're going to bring in. It's all crucial. It is all crucial. So yeah, I think it's arguably, I honestly think 2024 is the biggest year which Manchester United have had in a long time in terms of what it's going to mean for the future. This year, we don't necessarily see a lot of success. We don't necessarily see the signings we want to see. We don't necessarily see great football or trophies, whatever. But in terms of this year, really feels like it's the start of setting up something which could be incredible in 3 years' time, perhaps. I feel like this year we're really going to see foundations put in place. And a lot of that we may not even see because it will kind of be behind closed doors in the background going on. But I think it will be crucial still. I think it will be crucial. And I'm excited. You also have positive thoughts. I think in general everyone's quite excited. You read my comments for more, or for my endless pearls of wisdom, AJ. You are spot on, Chad. You make my day when I see you in chat. Honestly, we should get a room. Sorry. AJ, thoughts about Nice's manager? He was recruited by INEOS, and he is doing a good job. If the worst case, Ten Hag doesn't work out, do you think he will be a potential replacement? To be honest, I don't know too much about how Nice have played this season. I've watched a lot of Todibo, focusing on him, but not necessarily like the tactical approach of the whole side in general. So it's difficult to say. I believe he's quite a young manager, though. One of the younger managers in Europe right now. And like you said, he's doing a really good job. Nice have kind of slipped off a little bit in recent weeks with their form. But it'd be an interesting one to look into. Perhaps I do need to have a look into it. Would INEOS do that? Would they move a manager within their kind of own structure? Not sure. I ship that. I think everyone would. Ten Hag commented in a recent press conference something to the tune of, "I can't do it all alone." Him reporting directly to the CEO seems to imply they're releasing anyone else to help him before. Yeah. And hopefully that's the change. Hopefully that's the big change now, where the whole system, the whole football club is just more connected. There's more connection points, there's more sages through the club, rather than, you're the manager, mate, he's the CEO, good luck. It doesn't work like that. You have to have these technical directors, the sporting directors, the head of recruitment, and they've got to be the best at it. To work at United, they've got to be the best of the best. And it's what Ratcliffe keeps saying, the term best in class keeps coming up quite a lot. It's in the thumbnail today. Hopefully that's what we're going to see. So not only those jobs actually existing at United, which is a step in the right direction in the first place, but also, hopefully, some of the very best, the very, very best in those positions. Again, it's exciting. Yeah, Exposed, I did read your comment about Inzaghi at United. Honestly, not sure, because I haven't seen enough of them this season. Should we move Shaw on this summer? Possibly. I think when he's fit and available, great player. I love him. You guys know I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw. But he's not available. 50% of matches he's been available since he joined the club, simply not enough. You've got to consider letting him go, because if you can't rely on him, it doesn't matter if he's an incredible player, the best player in the world. If he doesn't play half the time, not much use. So, might have to go. Did I just hit the mic? I do apologise. At the start of the season, we outplayed every team for 20 minutes and then got outplayed the whole game. Why did it happen? Why do we get so complacent when we score? I don't think it's just complacency. I think that is some of it. I think that definitely comes into it. I think our players' temperament and things like that can be questioned. I also think that physically our players just don't seem that good. I don't know if something has gone wrong in terms of the strength and conditioning. Even going back as far as pre-season, for example, was it done wrong then? Was the intensity wrong back then? Is that why it's still affecting us now? I genuinely couldn't tell you. I genuinely don't know. Would Shaw develop to a backup left centre-back? I think there's potential in that idea. I think there's a lot of potential there. Particularly, with the nature of his injuries as well. You would think a centre-back position, it'd be interesting to see the stats, but I would assume, that's less high-volume sprints, which tend to lead to hamstring injuries and things like that, reducing the amount of running, particularly if we were, for example, to be a side better on the ball, you would think he would have less running to do from a centre-back position. But also, just being a backup left centre-back means he doesn't have to start as much, which protects his body a little bit. I don't know what his wage is, for example. I don't know if he's a player which we can afford to have as a backup. I don't know if he would want to be a backup at this stage in his career. He's not an old player. But I'm not sure. I think he definitely could, though. I think he's got the skill set to do it. Will it happen or not? This pre-season was plagued by a tight travel schedule, and reportedly absolutely nobody liked it. Even things like that have to change. Pre-season seemed odd. We played so many more matches than everyone else. We had so much less training time than everyone else. It seemed like by the Wolves game, the first game of the season, we were already fatigued and had not really developed tactically, which is bonkers. Bonkers. Availability is the best ability. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And Chad reckon he's got the wisdom, eh? Sorry, Chad. Love you, really. I swear. I think the best solution would be your first option, but Dalot inverts and Amrabat is left centre-back. Or my solution option would be Dalot at left-back and Mainu right-back inverted, with Casemiro and Amrabat in midfield. That's an interesting idea, because obviously Kobe hasn't exclusively played right-back, but he has essentially in that Arsenal game in pre-season. He was nearly right-back with where he moved in possession. It would be interesting. I just don't know if we would want to move Kobe just because he's been so good in midfield. I'd be worried about his personal, individual development. Moving him now, is it the right thing for his career? I'm not sure. Beef Testosterone has become a channel member and is now a channel goat. Absolute legend, mate. If you join the Discord, you can get access to exclusive Discord streams because you're a member. So if you DM me, I can get you added to that. And now, by the way, with those Discord streams, we've now got voice chats as well. So you guys can like verbally talk back to me. We done the first one yesterday. It was pretty sick. It was quality. So yeah, if you want to message me on Discord, you can. Maybe one of the mods will drop the Discord if they wouldn't mind. But yeah, thank you very much for becoming a member. You should now have a load of custom emojis which you can use. If you go into the chat, there should be like a Ten Hag, a Kobe, Hoyland, Ratcliffe, W, a cap, all sorts. So thank you very much for becoming a member. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Guys, make sure to spam some love hearts in the chat. Got to go, AJ. When are you planning your next Discord stream? It'll probably be midway through next week again. Probably midway through next week. But thank you very much for joining the stream, mate. I'll catch you in the next one. Two crazy options for left back. Casemiro left back, Amrabat midfield, alongside Kobe Mainu. And it's kind of absurd, but Anthony left back. Anthony left back is one I've been asked about. I think someone's even DM'd me on Instagram about it, and I need to get back to them. Whoops. Not sure on the whole Anthony left back idea. I don't know if physically he would struggle. Not sure. Not sure. It's really difficult to say when we've never seen it or anything even close to it. It's difficult to gauge whether he can do it or not because there's just no evidence, so we don't know. Danny Quinn likes the idea of Kambwala at right back and Dalot at left back. Yeah, we'll probably discuss that a little bit more tomorrow. I'll probably do a poll on tomorrow's stream. We'll be doing a tactical preview there. So we'll probably discuss it there. I think Amas is the one to keep an eye on for the left back right now. I think in the future he's definitely one to keep an eye on. I think long term he can be our left back at the club. Might just be a little bit early. He's a very good footballer. Very good footballer. And he is ahead of under-18 football, in my opinion. He looks better than under-18 football. But is he ready for the first-team football just yet? Particularly in an environment which isn't great. Not sure. I'm not sure if you risk it. Can we not just go Kambwala at left-back? I think that is an option as well. Can Kambwala play left-back is the only question. Not too sure. He can play left centre-back or right centre-back, so maybe he could stretch that as far as left-back. Maybe you encounter some of the same problems as what you have with Lindelof, although Kambwala is better physically, so it could work. But we'll discuss that whole idea tomorrow, I think, in the stream. He needs a season or a half season in the under-23 still. Yeah, I mean, personally, I agree with that. I think the aim for Amas should be to use him in pre-season. We get to see him there for the first time, really. Then go from there. I think we're still looking 18 months to 2 years before we see him properly. Thank you to whoever just subscribed, by the way. Greatly appreciate it. Are all our players injury prone, or is our recovery team just terrible? Or is the intensity wrong in training leading to more injuries? You know, is the intensity too high, so we're fatigued and get injured? Is the intensity too low, so our muscles aren't conditioned, so we get injured? I don't know. I still prefer Dalot on the right. His chemistry with Garnacho is really getting better. See, this is the thing. I completely agree with Ali here. I think Dalot left back is the best left back we have available, apart from Shaw. But Dalot at right back is also our best option available at right back, which is where it's difficult. Because, like you said, Dalot has developed relationships with Kobe in midfield, Kobe Mainoo, but also with Garnacho down the right-hand side. And it would be disappointing, I think, to now disrupt that. Sorry if you can hear a load of dogs barking in the background. That is happening. Given Dalot's form, it would be a crime to put him on at left back. Yeah, I feel like moving Dalot to left back for this game just completely disrupts our whole flow. I think Ten Hag will end up with Lindelof. Like I said, we'll discuss this properly tomorrow, but I think Ten Hag will go for Lindelof. The fact that he's the one who's been brought on from the bench in recent games as well would suggest it. You know, he hasn't wanted to move Dalot. The fact that we've barely seen Amrabat since he returned as well. I think it will be Lindelof. I think it stops us having to change the whole structure of our side. It reduces the strength of our left side, for sure, though. Defensively and offensively, it definitely hurts us. But, again, when you have no left-backs at the club, there isn't an optimal solution. There isn't a perfect solution, so we can sit and try and find it all day, but it's just not there. It's just not there. 10 more likes, by the way, guys, and Ali said he would leave a $10 donation. Can you guys hit 10 more likes? We're not going to be here for long, but if you could leave a like, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. It really helps the channel. It pushes these streams to more people, and the more that happens, the more we can upgrade the content and things like that. So it is really worth leaving a like on the stream. It's completely free to do so. Costs you nothing. You just, like, tap the screen. It's really easy. Or click it, whatever. Does Casemiro deserve to keep his starting place after his recent form? It's really debatable. It's really, really debatable. I think I don't see a world where he gets dropped. I think he'll be kept in the side because I think what we're at the moment is a stage where Ten Hag wants results. Now, I've said this for a while now. He's going to prioritise results over good football. I've been saying this for probably 3, maybe 4 months. But that priority for results is going to lead you to play players which are good in boxes. So that was McTominay earlier in the season. His ability to box crash, score us late goals, and to be fair, still from the bench is a weapon. But Casemiro is good at defending our box, and he's good at attacking their box. Set pieces, open play, he is effective in those areas, which means he can get you goals, which obviously get you wins. So I think we'll still see Casemiro. I think it's why Rashford, for example, is still someone which Ten Hag loves, because no matter the game state, he can do something out of nothing. The same in the case of Fernandes. So I think those players will continue to play, even when their form dips, to be honest. Even when they are going through rough patches, because their quality is quite obvious. Even when they're poor, the quality is still obviously there. I think it's unlikely that they lose their place. I think they would have to be really bad. I think they'd have to be really bad to lose their place in the team right now, which, is that a good thing? Probably not, but I think it's where we are. Lindelof looks lost at left back. We might have to sacrifice Dalot at right back. Who would you play at right back in that situation? Because obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka is injured. Is Kambwala the man, do you reckon? Again, there is every solution you come up with, there's going to be a flaw with it as well in there, because it's just not perfect at all. It's not perfect at all, the situation we find ourselves in, so there isn't a perfect solution. There is not a perfect solution at all. Yay. Anyway, we are just going to wrap up stream. That's really awkward because FP has just dropped in the chat and said, hello, hello, hello. Hello to you, mate. We are now wrapping up, though, unfortunately. Tomorrow, live again with a look ahead to the Fulham game, what we're going to see over the weekend. There's also going to be a video on the preview tomorrow morning. So, video tomorrow morning. Stream in the afternoon, 1:30. I might have some more of this stuff sorted by then, not sure. We'll have to see. And then Saturday is obviously the United game against Fulham. We actually play on a Saturday for once. So once again, I will be streaming about an hour before kickoff with my reaction to the starting 11. And then watching the game. And then probably around 8 PM, you'll see my video go up on the game. It might be a little bit later than that this week because I'm busy. And then we go again after that from there. So stream tomorrow at the same time as today. Another stream Saturday. a little bit earlier. No, a little bit later. Sometime Saturday, 2 p.m. In England. So that's the plan for the next few days in terms of today's content and stream, though. I believe we are finished there. So thank you very much to everyone who has joined. I think we've had a few less people than normal, but I think that's just because we've done something a little bit different. I believe I have seen other people live covering the same thing as well. I believe United People's TV done this today. I didn't get to watch it, but maybe people are just fed up of talking about the same thing over and over again, which is fair enough. So I greatly, greatly appreciate you guys which have still joined the stream despite the potentially repetitive content. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you to the 71 people who left a like. Greatly appreciated. Thank you to Ali for the donations, and also to Beef Testosterone for becoming a channel member. All absolute legends. You know how it goes. You're all absolute legends, and I greatly appreciate it as always. But apart from that, we are going to wrap the stream up there. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I will catch you in the next one, which is... I need to quickly say thank you very much to Ali for another $5 donation, saying big up everyone. Thank you very much, Ali. Big up you. Before you leave, guys, quickly spam some love hearts for Ali. Some of you guys might already be gone, but spam some love hearts because that is hero behaviour. Just before we leave, to drop that in the chat. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, mate. Support, as always, just insane, just incredible. Greatly, greatly appreciated. But yeah, apart from that, we are finished for today's stream. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for a video, a stream, the day after, a video, a stream, all of that good stuff. The content is going to keep coming. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Subscribe, like, whatever normal YouTubers say. Apart from that, we're finished though. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. The end stream button isn't working. This is really awkward. This is awkward. I'm just waiting for it to... Here we go. I will see you guys tomorrow and also probably in the Discord later as well. Thank you very much, guys. It's still not working.